Good evening and welcome. I'm Sheila Balgobin and I am the Dream Decipherer, and I help you to crack the code of your sleeping dreams so you can sleep sound and dream deep. Tonight's dream is really short. It is one sentence long, but as I always like to say, dreams are very compact when it comes to transmitting information. So there's probably a lot we can, or quite a bit we can pull out of the dream, even though it seems very short. So let's get into it and find out what's going on in this one sentence dream. The dreamer reports that they dreamt that they were talking to their mother, who told the dreamer that she had chosen her career path as a teacher because she thought she would be good at it. And the dreamer puts in brackets or parentheses that she was actually quite good at it. But the mother also said as she grew older, she discovered another talent, and the dream ends there. So, what was going on in this very short dream of this conversation between the dreamer and the dreamer's mother? Well, let's start with the mother. The mother, as could very well represent the actual mother of the dreamer, but as I always like to remind people, people who appear in our dreams are not necessarily themselves. And what I mean by that is that the unconscious mind will hang thoughts, feelings, etc., on people, places, and things that are familiar to us. It's very rare that they use the unconscious will use unknown images or faces in our dreams to communicate information. So, first of all, it could be the dreamer's actual mother being herself in this dream, or it could be representative of mother in some way. I mean, in terms of characteristics, generally mothers are considered to be nurturing, caring, loving, protective. And there's also the other possibility that there's this mother figure in the dream could represent the dreamer's anima or inner female, which stresses connection and relationship. So my first question here for the dreamer is that is the dreamer feeling somehow disconnected or out of tune, either with themselves or with others in their relationships? Because after all, their primary relationship, first and foremost, is with ourselves. So is there some need for the dreamer to reconnect and with their emotions in particular, with for themselves or with regard to others? Now, as I mentioned, one of the characteristics of mothers is to be protective and loving and always seeking to protect and love their child and do the best they can by them. Now, there's also the implication of unconditional love. Mothers generally will love their children no matter what they do or are. And my question here for the dreamer is, does the dreamer love themselves unconditionally or extend that same love outward to others? Um, the other aspect, again, is that we often go to our mothers for advice about things, generally. Maybe males less often, but certainly daughters go to their mothers for advice about things. But the mother was seems to have been passing on some, not only some information about herself, but about her choices with regard to her career and her life. And one thing that I would always say, because mothers are reputed to give advice to their children, sometimes unwarranted, but nevertheless, it is usually our go-to place when we're looking for information. So our first teachers in our lives are actually our mothers, teaching us how to speak by talking baby talk and encouraging us to walk and all of that. So our very first teachers in life are actually our mothers. And they form the basis of how we approach the world and how we walk in the world. Now, in this particular dream, the mother actually had a career as a teacher. And the dreamer admits that the mother actually was very good at teaching. Now, now, my question here for the dreamer is what lesson here is being taught by the mother to the dreamer? Is it perhaps that the mother is reminding these or suggesting to the dreamer that they have a talent of some kind for teaching? There's also the fact that the mother said that after retiring from teaching, that she discovered other talents and gifts, though they're not named in any way. And I wonder if that's also a call to the dreamer to investigate and look at what other gifts that they may have to be able to offer to others, or that they haven't explored and developed in some way. My other question here was, what was this other talent that the mother actually discovered later in her later life? Does the dreamer know, or can guess, perhaps based on the relationship they have with their mother? What was this gift or talent that was developed or discovered in later years? And again, I ask the question, is this perhaps a bit of a challenge to the dreamer to discover what other talents or gifts that they may have lying within them? I'm also curious as to whether this dreamer is currently teaching, whether formally or informally in some way, or has been felt drawn to teaching, whether that be on a formal level in a classroom or informally in some other way. Um, the several questions are suggested here by this dream. First of all, what is the significance of mother or the mother in this dream, besides the obvious that it could actually be the dreamer's mother? Um, as I stated earlier, that the people in our dreams don't necessarily represent themselves, but represent some aspect of the dreamer. So, what aspect could possibly this mother figure represent for the dreamer? What aspect within the dreamer could be represented by a mother figure, a mothering figure? Again, my question here is the dreamer either currently or considering or in the past has taught, has acted as a teacher, whether formally or informally? And is this possibly a new career path or a different career path that the dreamer could consider or has considered at one time? Now, the mother in this dream suggested that later in life that she discovered other gifts and talents that she brought forward and used in some way, perhaps. And my question here for the dreamer is, what other possible gifts or talents could the dreamer be overlooking or hasn't developed in any way? Is there some new hobby or some other talent that needs to be looked at and perhaps developed. And my final question here for the dreamer is, will the dreamer actually accept the mother's challenge to find out what other gift or gifts the dreamer may have to be able to share with others as he grows and matures and grows older? What other gifts that may appear or could appear if the dreamer took the time to look? Now, and there is also the aspect of, as I said, of looking at the dreamer and the mother figure in terms of the dreamer's inner life, and looking at connection and relationship. And I would wonder if that the mother figure is a call perhaps to look at nurturing and being more connected emotionally to other people. Is that something perhaps that the dreamer needs to be looking at? Greater or better connection and communication and feeling being expressed, either just for the sake of the dreamer, but particularly in relation to other people. So there you have it. You see, what a one-line dream actually stimulated quite a lot of questions for the dreamer to consider. And as always, I'll be interested to find out what this these thoughts that I've put together will have stimulated in the dreamer. And if you have any dreams or have a dream that is leaving you scratching your head or actually disturbing your sleep in some way, you're certainly welcome to get in touch and in a free 15-minute assessment, get some tips on how you can look at that dream and approach it and pull out what I call the gold in the gobbledygook of your dream. Thanks so much for watching and listening. Have a great evening and rest of the week. And I'll see you again soon. Take care. Bye bye.